Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jade from Calgary, Alberta. I'm a small business strategist influencer, and my passion is helping small businesses grow and succeed. Sharing knowledge is why I started the Telling It Like It Is Facebook Live. It is a live show, so if you do have any comments, please post them there. If you see this on LinkedIn or any of the social media platforms after the fact, please do not hesitate to contact myself or Rick, and we will answer them. Today's Facebook Live is sponsored by Orangetheory Fitness. They deliver superior fitness results in a fun group environment using monitor technology. They have 9 locations in Calgary, and if you're looking to change a pace, definitely reach out to Orangetheory Fitness. Today's guest is Rick Holbrook of Growth Stratagems. Rick, thank you for joining me today, and how are you?
I'm doing well, Jade. I'm just recovering from a cold, but it's all good. Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of colds going around here.
Oh, it's been unbelievable. Yeah.
I know you and I got
anyway.
Through you host a forum lunch, and Louis Kellerman introduced us, and now we do a lot of different networking events. So, that probably goes back a good couple of years now.
Yeah, that's right. Time flies. I joined your Founders Coffee initiative, which I enjoy getting out and having breakfast and meeting all the solopreneurs and various different small business people that drop in to have coffee with you. So that's always a lot of fun and interesting conversations and interesting people.
Yeah, that's I really do like that Founders Coffee, and it has been successful enough to keep going, and I hope it continues because it's we average anywhere between 6 and 12 people, and the networking that has gone on there has been great, and the face-to-face stuff I love. I mean, I truly believe we're losing some of that in today's society.
Yeah, you're right. It's easy to not meet people. I've met lots of interesting people who just dropped in for coffee, and I think it's just cool and fun to do. So.
I agree. Well, I'll give a quick little introduction to Rick here, and then we'll hit the question. So 2/3 of business leaders fail to execute their strategy, and Rick helps them fix that. He is a business leader who helps other business leaders achieve better results in less time and less risk and less stress. For almost 20 years, Rick was a high executive growth entrepreneur, and he led companies. He now leverages that experience and his own experience as a business owner by applying a complete toolbox of business growth tools, from leading coaching organizations to reliably delivering results to motivated leaders. I truly believe continuous learning is so important, and it's something that has to go on, especially from the top down. Please let us know why you see and you think it's important for the leaders or CEOs of a company to have a continued learning their skill set.
It's really an interesting question. It seems obvious that the leader has to be a continuous learner. However, I'm going to go back to a big part of my corporate experience. I joined a company in Calgary here called Enerflex Systems when it was a small company. I spent 16 years there. It was a wonderful experience, and we grew that business by a factor of 50. The interesting observation I have is that the leader enabled the growth of the business by not becoming the bottleneck in the business. He was able to delegate, was able to step back. And when you think of it, when you grow a business, he had started the business 3-4 years previously as on his credit cards himself. Enerflex now is worth something like $1.7 billion in market cap, employs thousands of people worldwide. Think about that from the perspective of a leadership changes and learning that he had to do. He had to learn to delegate. He had to learn. During that time, we went public. He brought in an outside investor. The company went public. He moved on to become chairman of the board. John Aldred, although he's passed away, is now in the Alberta Business Hall of Fame for both his business and his philanthropic endeavors. And, that's really what motivated me I've always worked in the small to medium-sized business space. And I've just been fascinated by the leaders who've been able to grow their business and create a really successful business. And I just, it all comes down to being a continuous learner. John Aldred was not a business grad. He was, in fact, a heavy equipment mechanic who continually developed his skills and was a very successful chairman of a publicly listed company in Calgary. So that, to me, is a wonderful endorsement for the importance of being a continual learner. Every business leader should do that. So.
Oh no, absolutely. I 100% agree with that, and I know you and I have had many conversations at our events about this, and I love talking about it. But what I will kind of want to get to is, it's difficult to change. People have a hard time changing, and I imagine someone with a Type A personality, a leader, a CEO, to change his ways is probably very difficult. What are some of the steps needed to help guide him through this journey, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, there's a really good question, because you've gone right to the nub of why it is, and of one of the challenges. Rather, it's what makes them change. Well, they start bumping up against things in their business that aren't working so well, and they realize that they're most successful business leaders are continual learners. So yeah. Whether they're readers, whether they're part of a peer group, a CEO forum, a networking group, they tend to surround themselves with people that they learn from, or mentors, or people who bring different skills. So they're not trying to do it all by themselves. And I think it comes through that process. Now, when I sit down with them as a coach, you're quite right, it can be challenging. There has to be a willingness to change or to do something different to get a better result. So the way we start often is, let's figure out where you're at. How's your business doing? How are you doing personally? Kind of what's the present status assessment? And then the next step is, where do you want to be 3 years from now, 10 years from now? What do you want your business to look like? What do you want to be proud of? What's your, what legacy do you want to leave? And when we work our way through that, there's a gap there. They go, well, my business is here and I want it to get there. And then I help them with that. And that creates a bit of the impetus for changing. And as soon as people admit that, hey, I don't know it all, I'm okay with not being the smartest guy in the room, right then they're open to it. And as soon as they're open to it, then they can start moving down the path towards a better future.
Oh no, I mean, that's so many great points there, and I mean, and I can imagine every single leader is different with their personality and what might motivate them. I know they say it takes 66 days to create a habit. So when you're working with these leaders, is it, do you say it's like, okay, you're going to take X amount of time, or is it, what type of time frame is needed from, to help a CEO, and, do they always have the time to give? Is that an issue?
Well, it's the number one concern. The leaders are probably more worried about the time that they have to put in than they are the money they have to spend. They want a return on their time. It's not time intensive, but it does take energy and it does take commitment. The first step in coaching really is the person has to be open to it. Otherwise, if you're trying to improve someone who's going to go through the motions or isn't that interested, it's a non-starter. Everybody will say they're coachable, but not everybody really truly is at a particular point in time. And sometimes this changes. There's a colleague of mine who says we're only 1 or 2 life events away from serious change. And, sometimes that's a business event, sometimes it's a personal event. Something often happens to wake people up and get them asking themselves, there must be a better way to do this. Yeah. And the answer is there is. A common flaw, if you will, of many business leaders is they try and do too much by themselves. When you start your company on your credit card, spending your own money, I understand that. The really successful ones, though, reach out to people, surround themselves with mentors, and learn from them. Surround themselves with skills. So going back to your question about how much time does it take, the various processes I use don't take a lot of time. They do take some time commitment, and they take some energy. You remember the Stephen Covey idea that we should be working on what's important, not what's urgent. And that's the category that coaching falls into. You're working on things that are going to make you better over a period of time and make your business better over a period of time. Every company that I work with, they know how to do their day-to-day business. What they don't necessarily have is the tools and the systems to do the important stuff that isn't urgent. So the things that span projects, the continuous improvement type of initiatives, whether it's, new management, financial accounting or reporting systems or whatever the business is going through. So.
No, valid. That's so true. So true. Time is obviously very, very important, and people value their time. I know I had another question, but I kind of want to spin it in a different direction here, because you did give us a very good example about the Enerflex one. You mentioned mentoring in there. Do you? I have a mentor, and I talk to him at least probably every 2 or so months, and we go out for lunches. Is there a difference, between, say, having you as a coach and having a mentor on the side, just someone in your network or that you can honestly rely on just for some quick advice? Is it, how do you deal with that when someone might come and say, "Oh, I have a mentor, I'm fine, I don't need coaching"?
It does happen. People have friends and mentors. Coaching is often the problems that people don't want to disclose to their immediate circle. So whereas their mentor might be a family friend or a best friend or what have you, a coach is a third party that you're working with to help you get where you want to go. And what business owners often is it's a business arrangement. They hire me, we agree on the results and the direction we're going in. A mentor is valuable also in addition to a coach, because they provide a different perspectives. They provide some experience that's sometimes relevant, sometimes not relevant. A coach has a different process, and that's kind of the best explanation. It's a third-party relationship. They can hold me accountable. You can't really hold your family friend accountable for good results or bad results.
Yeah. No, that's a great way of putting it. That's excellent. Thank you for, and again, I think it's a fine line too, as you said, and I like that analogy where it's, when you have somebody and you're coach and you've agreed to something and it's a business transaction, you'll open up a little more. So I guess what's next for you, Rick?
Oh, I'm going to continue doing this forever. I love this space. After, my corporate career, I tell everybody that, look, I had 25 years of selling stuff to engineers, and that's enough. But I had the whole entrepreneurial growth experience via Enerflex Systems and others, and all of my observations and learnings around leadership, positive and negative, really comes from that. Now I have a toolbox, and I'm really, my purpose is to try and improve everyone's work-life experience and economics. I had a great run at Enerflex, did very well financially, and and I want that for everybody else. And
Yeah.
I equally feel that there is a need in the workplace for people to feel motivated and energized by their jobs, by the purpose of their company. We spend 40% of our time either at work or fussing about work, and it's a big part of our lives. And I think it's really, we deserve to enjoy it, and we deserve to have it as a source of happiness and income in our life. And so that's kind of, I'm going to keep doing this. You know who my role model is. He's a lawyer in our other lunchtime group, and I want to keep working as long as Dawn, which is quite a few years.
I'll tell you, I'm amazed by that man. Just listening to his stories is fabulous.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I always ask people to share a piece of advice, usually for a small business owner or entrepreneur, but maybe I'll spin it a little bit here. Maybe if, you can give a piece of advice, a coach, one piece of advice to somebody who's either thinking about being coaching or, why should they be coaching and how it might help them.
If you're considering coaching, first of all, I'd like to reinforce that, everybody needs a coach. Whether everyone wants a coach is another matter, but we all can benefit from the third-party perspective and toolbox that a coach can bring. So if you're considering it, I'd like to encourage you to keep looking into it, and then take coaching is a very flexible arrangement. You can define, that you're going to do it for a certain period of time, and the right coach will help you define a program that works for you. Sit down and be open with them. Tell them where you're at, where you want to get to, and let them become your co-pilot and sort of right-hand person in helping you get there. Really, a coach we sometimes use the metaphor as like a co-architect. You have the vision for your company and your personal life, and a coach provides a toolbox, a perspective, and the other things that you need to make it easier to get there. And that's what, if that's the path you're on, keep going. Find somebody and give it a try. And if it's not working out, take a step back, reflect, and then move forward again. There's a variety of different tools that people can use. Everybody reads books and looks at podcasts. Most of the successful leaders that I know, virtually not most, all of them are continual learners. And some of them join peer groups. Some of them surround themselves with mentors. They hire a coach. They work with a coach. Some of it is personal style. However, they're all good tools, and find what works for you. So.
No, I mean, that's great advice. And I mean, I know I promote this all the time, whether it be on my social networks or I'm talking to people or clients. And I always say asking for help is not a sign of weakness. And if you need a little bit of guidance, something, I mean, there's someone out there to help you. I mean, to get to, the time investment and maybe the little bit of money that you'll have to put down on that will be, it's priceless on, having someone put you on the right path.
Yeah. And, everybody looks very carefully at the expense, and the really clever people look at what's the return for me. And you look at, some of my business clients have taken their company and 10x the revenue and become profitable, and probably in one case improve the valuation of their company by $100 million. And that's not my great coaching. I was part of that because I have other clients who don't get anywhere near those kinds of results. And the most important person is the client. But if you're motivated, and open to coaching, you can really create the life that you want. That's really what it comes down to.
No, that's so true. So true, Rick. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge today. That's priceless. I know if people wanted to find Rick, he is, You can look in the comments section. His growthstratagems.com is there. You can just click on the link and it'll take you directly to his website. If you need to contact him directly, you can go through there, or you can email me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us. Again, thanks a lot, Rick. I really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Good luck to everyone, and I hope some of this has been useful.
Oh, I'm sure it has been. And a special thanks to Orangetheory Fitness, who have 9 locations in Calgary. If you're looking for a change in your personal health, definitely give them a call. Again, thanks everybody. Thanks, Rick. And we will see you next week. Have a great day.
Really.
Bye-bye.
Bye.